And so
It's not.
I wanted to make sure for this episode, we're talking about whether we're funding for general education or we're funding for special education, which are more money. We still need to have strategies behind that to make sure that we stay on top. We're still building wealth. So
Right.
we're gonna jump into the money side of it and have a discussion around, all right, summer is over, back to school. We want to secure our child's future. Based on your experience, now in September, what are some of the challenges you've heard parents saying about funding their kids' education? What are some of the feedback you're getting, especially with regard to special needs? What are some of the concerns people have financially with back to school?
It's how are they going to make sure that their child is learning throughout the year? It's not even their own personal stressors. It's just simply how are they going to plan a particular year where the child is succeeding to the best of their ability. A lot of parents are not researching, they're not finding the time in advance to understand what they're going to be facing for the school year. We have to understand that whether or not you think your child needs extra lesson, your child may even need a curricular activity just to keep them balanced. Okay.
Yeah.
So the first problem I would think is just the timing. They're not prepping in advance for the bills that may come ahead. Preparatory school or public school, yes, public school has a reduced cost, but all the other things that a child would need to function as a well-rounded individual, it is costly.
Not
Timing
free out
is,
there.
yeah.
Yeah, so we have tuition costs, that's one, uniform, book, transportation too, that's another thing where
Yeah, I was gonna get to that.
carry the kid go school every day and pick up and carry here and drop off.
Mm-hmm.
Just not cheap, right? And especially when we think even for PEP preparation, we have to do a bag of extra class.
Yes, yeah.
The extracurriculars, we want kids to be rounded. We want to give them exposure. So, all right, extra class, that some people do dancing, gymnastic, football, or whatever. It adds up.
Yes,
and then if you have a special education child, therapy. Therapy ain't cheap. Speech therapy.
Yep.
Behavior therapy. Occupational
therapy. Yes.
Physical therapy. The therapy them. Look here.
Yeah. I think a lot. I'm really trying to champion teachers. If you know a teacher out there, please get them to think of special education being the choice of program that they choose, because there's a lot of needs out there that schools themselves are not ready and prepared for, the needs of the children coming in. And parents need someone to buffer the understanding about what is happening with their child and the environment that their child is going to be in. Financially, it is a lot, but I think when parents do the due diligence to research the different agencies that are out there, there are some that are not as expensive. So time and being able to catch yourself before it comes too close is very, very important, doing the necessary research. Also, if you can find someone who is able to just help with that breathing of in that room of information too, so that you don't feel overwhelmed. When parents are frustrated, they don't want to be bothered with it.
Yeah, so we can start by first, main thing, know your money to grow your money.
Yeah.
We have to write down all of these expenses for the year.
Yeah.
The tuition, is it going to be every term? Are you paying once a year if you have it like that?
Yeah.
If it's every term, we're writing down the tuition and we're planning for it, right? If we're doing extracurriculars, we're write down the price, plan for it. When can I pay for this? Have discussion with the different teachers. When is this money due?
Yes.
Put it in your cash flow planning, your spending planning, right? For therapy, all right, how this going to work? Is a monthly payment? How it work? I must pay every session.
Yeah.
What we do, I know sometimes I say, all right, can I pay in blocks? We can't pay every session. That's going to be too much for the member every time. And cash flow wise demanding. Can I pay you in blocks? We want to start thinking about that, but nothing will happen until you actually put pen to paper and write down how much money you have to spend. That is the first step. We're still in September. Yes, you just pay the first school fee for this term. You buy books. Some people probably never buy all of the book them. I know parents who have said, me not buy every book because them not use all of the book at the same time.
True.
So me not gonna run
True.
and buy the $50,000, the $60,000 worth of book. I'm gonna ask the teacher up front, what do I need? And I buy those. And that's a very smart move.
It is
Most
a very
teachers,
strategic move because some of the books, parents, I'll just let you know, some of the books are not used until second term. First term is done to review information that was done from the previous
yes,
grade level. So the books may have changed, but your student companion, first aid in English, get that because that's a year-round learning that your child can forever have. The math text, other supporting text, parents find out, as Keisha said, find out from the teacher when is that going to start being put to use, because some of them are not used until the end of the year based on the topics and how
yes.
the pages are printed. Some of them have limited print for that particular topic. So that is true.
Right. So when we plan it out, and again, is that why I think to do no shame in it to say, Miss, when are we gonna use this book?
This
Which
book,
book will
yep,
I
there's no
use?
shame.
No, I'm gonna get those. It's a smart move. We not to buy everything and have all of the book them put on and them just there and then a we and next year it use because that money
Mhm.
we could have gone and invest it and make it
Somewhere
grow.
else.
Right now, instead of we pay it and we just look on the book, yeah, I know they're gonna take up the book, and it's gonna build up anxiety because you say, me spend my money and buy these books, and I'll know them not use it.
Mhm.
So we can plan around what books will be used when, and then we'll buy them at that time. And we do that, but it comes through planning, and that's the first thing I want to make sure everybody understand. When it comes to your child's education, if you don't have a plan for it, you're going to end up in financial ruin. You can't
Mhm.
just take it as they come and I pay for the things them as somebody say, Mom, Dad, we need this. Oh, all right, this. Mom, Dad, we have fundraiser, you pay it out. Mom,
Mhm.
Dad, we have back to school night, you pay. But by the time you look, you're broke because you haven't planned for these expenses and enough people pay the things because you say, boy, I don't want my picnic suffer, I don't want my picnic look like the worst.
The worst.
Yeah, I forgot to do it.
But
Everybody
I
have
will
Bible
I will
study
shout
today.
out. I definitely will shout out as well. Parents, if you can put down what you want to budget to pay for all of those PTA things,
Yeah.
don't feel pressured by the school. Do not feel
And
pressured
yeah,
by the
here's from
school.
my teacher. If the
Do
teacher
not.
tell you, look here, don't feel pressured, but it's true.
I'm not saying be stingy. Okay, give with rational reason, but I'm saying if you can't give all right now, surprise them with something midterm and be like, "Hey, I want to give this donation." But don't feel pressured right away to give that big budgeted gift. Do it in sections. That's my best option
So
as well.
it come back to your budget, which is true. We're not saying to be stingy. Another
Mhm.
big point, MB Lee raised this point, which is true. We're not saying to deprive your child of books. Be clear here, just to be clear, we
Mhm.
now say that we're gonna plan for when the child will need it. So in the discussion with the teacher, let's walk it through step by step. You say, all right, we will need the book February. We not that
Mhm.
don't mean January 31, you're going to
You're gonna go and buy
go
the book.
go and buy it. Plan for it. We can buy it in December,
Right.
right? But you still have to plan. It comes back to that. Don't wait. And thank you for that point, Emily. Don't wait. So we have the teacher say, all right, we're going to use it in a summer term.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, buy it, during Easter, yeah, buy it, and the book is not there. We still have to be proactive.
Yeah.
We're saying you don't have to buy it now for August or September,
Mm-hmm.
but you still do have to buy it in time for use. I will not go wait till the last minute so the book sell off or no book not there and then your child ends up being in a deficit. We don't want that, right? Because no child left behind.
And
You have to be wise.
another point to add for NB's comment, teachers prior to the school year starting, they are aware what textbook they want to push being used because prior to the year even starting, a lot of schools go through the textbooks that they want as their core subject books, right?
Right.
So you can go to the teacher and say, Miss, as Keisha said, Miss, what are the books that you're going to be using right away for homework, assessment, anything in particular? And then over time, you buy the other books, have a constant communication with your child's teacher to know, okay, it's time to buy the books, it's coming up. They will let you know. When I was teaching in Jamaica, we used I was at grade 2 at the time. We know that the integrated text was the
Yeah.
core book that was used, and then the other texts were supplementary books for homework. However, not all the time they were used. They probably be used once in the week, and then next week you see that book come back again, coming home. Their structure, there are ways how to structure even when you're ready to buy that book. The first few weeks of school is getting to know you and all the things.
Yeah.
As I said, parents, the first term, a lot of stuff in the first term, it is revision. It is revision. Nothing kicks up until we're
Yeah.
coming back into October, December, around that time for work to really be kicked in.
All right, so we plan accordingly that way. And now let's talk now about the additional costs of education. So the book necessity, yes, tuition, yes, pay a school fee, but additional stuff for our children to thrive. And is additional. They're nice to have, but more time you feel like you need to have them because it's somewhat become the standard. And parents who have kids for pep and so they know this. And special education parents, we know this too because you want your child to thrive.
Mm-hmm.
You want my picnic for pass on good high school. The PEP exam is designed where it's ranked. You're ranked against everybody else
Yeah.
where do the exam.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to come good. So extra lessons now is no longer nice to have. It's starting to become a necessity for persons because
Fatigue.
one part of the
Mm-hmm.
school year, this exam is extremely competitive. They might go up across every
Mm-hmm.
single other person, whether they're the book brain, they may not need for study,
Mm-hmm.
student, all these. So if my child need the extra push to be able to excel, the extra lessons become a necessity. And let's talk about how can parents plan for that? What would they have in mind?
Well, in terms of parents planning for that, parents also be need to also be aware that the school that their child goes to, they can also seek outside help that may be a little bit cheaper and more intensive. Okay, and it may
Mm.
be cheaper as well.
Yeah,
When I
popular
was in
opinion,
Jamaica,
and I would not say people
and
need to, if you go to this school, go all
yeah,
over this school and do extra lesson.
right.
But I know
But
people
I
personally that have done that and it worked for them. They pick me, I'm not gonna call them names, because nobody come after me, but uptown schools, the kids go there and they have to end up downtown for extra lesson so that they can end up passing with PEP to the school that they wanted to go.
and the reason why that is done, it's sometimes children are bored with familiarity. They are
Mm.
bored. If they know that the teacher is not going to pay them any mind because maybe today they did not do so well with the answers, it's best to find somewhere else. It's best to find another location. If you have friends at another school and you hear how their own child is raving about that teacher's application to particular things, it's also best to shop around, even if it is for 2 hours for extra classes. It's also best because teachers teach in different strategies. One topic can be delivered in so many ways, especially
Yeah.
newer teachers who are coming fresh out of teachers college. I sometimes have to liaison with them and be like, "Oh, you guys, there's so many new strategies now for how
Mm.
to do a math problem. It is not just cookie cutter, hundred tens and one. No, they're doing
100 tens
decomposition,
on
all
one.
sorts, all
Yeah.
sorts of ways how to work it out. And so sometimes, if a child realizes that I don't have to do anything and teacher will still say, "Mom, have their child be in extra lessons," shop around sometimes to parents, thinking of the budget as well. If it is that you live in Portmore and there is a teacher in Portmore, think about it too, because sometimes location does vary with cost. Like when I was doing CXC, there was I was living in Portmore in Bridgeport. There was a Mr. Brown, and he had CXC classes running straight through, and it was like a
Yeah.
$1,000 compared to a Maths Unlimited at the time. That was like
Way
five
more.
thousand
Yeah.
going up. There, you can shop around to get still a bang for your buck, value for your money, and your child is not being left behind.
Yeah. So we want to be, we want the extra lesson. We're thinking abundantly, but
Mm-hmm.
we can shop around to get that no budget impact of it, because as I say, become a necessity. We have to do it.
Mm-hmm.
So we go. Even as it becomes to special education needs, shop around as well. I know it's
Yes.
not a whole heap of therapy places and a lot of consultants or
Mm-hmm.
persons who can help you, but shop
Mm-hmm.
around, get creative as well in terms of how you can do it. I know some parents, they kind of tag team if they have, a child of a similar age. Some of them say, all right, let's do a group session with this
Group
therapist.
sessions, yeah.
I see people even organize them own session, them do a home thing. They take 5 kids together and say, all right, let me get a teacher to come and help, and all the parents kind of pitch in
Pitching
together
and
and do
yeah.
that. So we have
Yeah.
to get creative, because at the end of the day, not now mess with the money, we still a build wealth. So we have to be creative in terms of some of the approaches that we take. No, as
I
from
want
me,
to point out something
yes.
though. Once again, guys on the platform, if you also know teachers out there that are looking to make that extra buck to build their wealth, come to them.
Teachers need to build wealth
Okay,
too.
come
Yes.
to them to do these type of services as well, not just extra lessons at school. I know some teachers want their weekends, but there is a high demand for parents out there who are looking, who may want services closer to home instead of driving to Kingston or
Yeah.
driving elsewhere to get. If they are living in a community that has children that they see running up and down, talk to them to say, hey, if you have some space in your house, on your veranda, get a little one chair, a little one table, small group. In the US, they facilitate learning like that. They don't push whole group learning, they push small group rotations. So that is something that can be adapted as well and looked into.
Yeah, and I've seen parents do that where, yes, my child is in school in a bigger group, but on weekend, 5 parents come together and say, all right, let's run an in-home kind of extra
Mm-hmm.
lesson.
Mm-hmm.
It's smaller, we get to kind of work on our kids that way. That can end up being a bit more economical than say, all right, I have to go carry my child, go here, then carry them go over there and carry them this, because the gas add up. Also,
Yeah.
it impact your time because you're less
Yeah.
available for go do your work, for do other things. So we have to get overall creative, and teachers who are on for real. Maybe you can jump into the more people who are doing these side hustle, because we talk about side hustle a lot.
Yes.
Talk about one income stream is very close to no income stream. So if
Mm-hmm.
you're a teacher who is on tonight, think about that. This is a way I can make some external money. This is a way I can get that extra income. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
I take on some tutoring. Maybe I'm one of these teachers who put up my hand and say, all right, if some students come together, me tutor on a weekend time or so on. A lot of teachers are starting to think about that as
Mm-hmm.
well. Money have to make, wealth have to build, right? You have to do what you have to do, depending on the side that you're on, whether you want additional income or I have to be wise with my expenses. No
Mm-hmm.
matter which side, there's still something that you can do.